I wrote daily for an entire year of writing and writing and writing every single day. And here's what I learned. I learned a lot because it changed my life. Just for context, I write a newsletter called Messages from Life. And it's messages from life, your higher self, life itself, sending you a message. And I'm so grateful to the thousands of beautiful souls who subscribed and who receive those messages on a daily basis. Thank you. And here's what I learned in the process. First lesson is it's not about you or about me. Because the first thing you have is you have doubts. I had doubts. I still have them. I'm not a good enough writer. I'm not a writer at all, actually. English is not my native language. I sound stupid. It sounds clumsy. I don't know how to articulate myself. Who am I to write a message anyway? You'll have those thoughts. I still have those thoughts. But what I want to bring to the world is more important than me. It's not about me. I am just an instrument. And I want to be so busy bringing my message into the world, so busy writing, speaking, that I don't care what I look like or sound like while I do it or how it's received. That's none of my business. My business is expressing my message. And even those voices that say, you're not good enough, you shouldn't do this, your English is not good enough, I'm not a writer at all, who are you to speak? You'll have those voices, I have them. It doesn't matter. Your message is more important than this little idea you have of yourself, because that's all it is. But it's not about that little idea of yourself, this little image. Your message is more important. You are just an instrument. It doesn't matter what you look like while you bring the message. It doesn't matter. You bring the message. It will get better with time. You'll sharpen the instrument. You'll fine tune it. It doesn't matter. The message matters. And it needs to be heard. No matter how imperfectly, no matter how stupid I look right now or sound like, even if I have an accent, none of this matters. The message needs to get out because the message is more important than all these little concepts that I have. The second thing I learned is don't care about being understood. Sounds crazy, right? If you write something, you want to be understood. And you wonder, how will it be received? It is none of your business. It is none of my business how someone reads my writing, of how they react to it. It's none of my business because I send a newsletter to thousands of people, but everyone reads a different message. Everyone reads something different. They read their own version of what I've written. They're not reacting to my writing. They're reacting to their own version, to their own understanding, to their own thoughts about what I've written. And everyone understands it differently. So if I write a message, there are thousands of people, and each of them receives a different message. And they all receive it according to their state of consciousness, to the mood they're in at the moment, to their own worldviews, opinions, and life experience. And they think they're reacting to my message. They're not. They're reacting to themselves, to their own thoughts about it. They don't know that, but I do. My business is to keep creating, to keep writing messages. You get it out there and don't worry about how it's received. Do it imperfectly. It doesn't have to be perfect. I send a daily newsletter, so it's a blessing because I don't have time to be perfect. I have to send it. If I didn't have that, I'd be like, I'll tinker on it and I'll spend days, weeks, months, years, my entire life trying to perfect it, to get it just right. I don't have the time. I have to send it. I have to be okay with imperfection. I have to make friends with it. But look around you. It's an imperfect world. Everything is some kind of flaw. It's in the process of growing. You don't look at the tree and say, well, that's an imperfect tree. No, the tree is growing. I am growing. You are growing. We're all growing. And that's fine. But do it imperfectly. Just send it out. It helps that I have a little toddler, so there's no time. He's a gift in the sense because I don't have the time to do it perfectly. I just don't have the time. And if I didn't have that, I'd have time to do it perfectly. And that usually means not doing it. There's no such thing as perfection. And perfection is really a sophisticated way of procrastinating. And why do we procrastinate it? Because we think who we are depends on what we put out, on what we produce. So if we do something imperfectly, it reflects back, I'm a flawed person, I'm imperfect, and I can't let the world see that. I'm okay with myself, with who I am. And that allows me to put stuff out imperfectly. I don't need to procrastinate. Perfectionism is procrastination. And procrastination is fear. Fear of being seen. Why are you afraid of being seen? Because you think that who you are is not good enough. And if you produce something that's not good enough, it will reflect back on you and confirm you're not good enough. You have to know within yourself that you're good enough. And that allows you to produce imperfection and to be okay with it. I'm okay with the daily imperfection I put out because I know that even my imperfection helps people. People are uplifted by it. I'm uplifted by it. It's never going to be perfect. Leave perfection up to life. Get it out there. The message needs to be heard. Do it imperfectly. Another really important lesson is create what you want to see in the world. There's so much talk about this is the right niche and this is profitable, this is popular right now, this is a trend, this is what people want to hear. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. Who needs more people producing stuff that's popular and this is the algorithm? None of this is needed. Put stuff out there because it resonates with you. How could it resonate with someone else if it doesn't resonate with you first? Everything that I write is for me to hear. Either at some stage of my life, I needed to hear it. And many times I need to hear it right now at the stage of life where I am at right now. And that's why I'm putting it out. It will resonate with someone because it comes from a place of authenticity, of genuineness, of love. I'm expressing myself as real and as fully as I can. Because if it's not something you want to see in the world, who else would want to see it? The world needs your voice, my voice, authentically. And I look forward to reading my own messages, to reading my own newsletter. I love it because that's what I needed to hear. Because that's what I still need to hear. And I even chuckle at my stupid dad jokes. Someone has to create something that you want to see in the world, that you want to exist in the world. That's the only reason for creating. Everything else is just regurgitating stuff. Let it come from the heart. That's the only thing that endures and matters and resonates. Because if it resonates with you, that's enough. It resonated with one person. That's enough. But it resonated. And you don't need to have it all figured out. I have no idea how to create video. Clearly, I have no idea how to create a podcast or video. I look ridiculous doing it, but I'm okay with it. I didn't know how to publish a newsletter. I didn't know how any of that works. I still don't. I still don't think I'm a writer. It doesn't matter. I'll learn along the way, and I'm okay with that. I've figured out a little bit how newsletters work by now, but I had no idea how any of this worked. In the past, I would have spent so much time getting ready, preparing, learning to get it just right. But what I've learned is that being ready doesn't mean you have all the pieces. Being ready means you trust that all the pieces will come along the way. You don't have to have everything right now. You just have to have the trust that you will learn it along the way. You will never get to a stage where you feel ready. You feel ready by trusting the process, trusting that it will unfold. You just walk, and as soon as you walk, you're ready. Trust that you will learn everything along the way. I mean, I look like a fool on YouTube and on the podcast. Maybe my newsletter, I still look like a fool sometimes. That's okay. That's fine. It doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to get out there. Commercial break, sponsored by myself. If you want to wake up happier, get your free messages from life. Think of it as your almighty penpal, sending you daily encouragement. It's free and you can sign up below. Thanks so much. And every mistake you make is a chance to be kind to yourself. In the past, I would have beaten myself up because I send a newsletter and there's a spelling mistake or I'm missing a word. That's a great way to find out, by the way, if you make an error. Hit send, and as soon as you hit send, you're like, oh God, no, I made a mistake. As soon as it lands in your inbox, you notice, oh God, how did I not spot this? And in the past, I would have beaten myself up over it. Now I see it as a chance to be kind to myself. I made a mistake. Good. That's a chance to be kind to myself because now that's when I need it the most. That's when I need my own kindness and my own compassion the most, when I make a mistake. And besides, isn't it a great thing to make a mistake? It's something you enjoy doing because it means you're doing it. That's okay. Because it means I get to do what I want to do. I don't need to beat myself up over it. I should have been perfect. I should. You're doing what you love to do. And if you make errors, mistakes, that's a chance to be kind to yourself. And remind yourself it's a privilege to make a mistake at something that you enjoy doing. Because then it's not really a mistake because you're on the path. And the most important thing is do it for the fun of it. I'm so grateful now of thousands of people reading my newsletter. I'm so grateful for all of those people who receive my daily messages. And sometimes you look at the unsubscribes and like, oh God, people didn't like it. Or especially on social media, like 20 followers or something. And if I look at that, it would look really discouraging. Like no one is listening to me. I'm speaking into the void. But it doesn't matter. 20 people listened. One person listened. And I realized with my newsletter, with my writing, I decided very early on, if no one will ever read it, that's okay. I'm doing it for myself. And I'm doing it for the fun of it. I'm doing it to see what I'm capable of expressing myself, of discovering myself, of, of bringing something into the world. And if the only thing that happens is that I grow in the process, that's enough. If one person reads it, great, that's a victory. Everyone else, every additional person, that's a victory, that's great. But do it for the fun of it, for the joy. Otherwise, you get in this whole game of subscribers and unsubscribes and followers. Do it for the fun of it. And besides, those people are not followers or subscribers. Those are human souls. Those are fellow human beings that you get to reach, that you have the privilege of talking to. And every single person is a privilege, and you get to impact someone's life. You get to communicate with someone who resonates with you. That's great. And even if it's just one follower, that's great. Celebrate that. So don't reduce people to numbers. There's souls behind that. And every soul you connect to is great. But it starts with you. Connect with yourself first. And you connect with yourself by having fun with it. Do it for the joy of it. Not to chase an algorithm of followers or I need to do this. Do it because it brings joy. Because that's the only way you're going to do it. I want to keep writing for years and years to come. And I'm not going to force myself to do it. I'm not going to discipline myself to do it. None of this works. I do it for the joy of it. It's fun. Doesn't mean I'm not frustrated at times or doubt myself at times, but it's part of the journey. I'm discovering myself, discovering my beliefs. That's part of it. That's part of the fun. I make it part of the fun. Make it for the joy of it. Bring joy to it. And the last thing I learned is really when I speak and write, I'm channeling a wisdom that's not my own. Because sometimes I read back to it because how come it's so clear when I write it and speak it, there's something else speaking more than me or a part of me that already knows. And I get to discover that part. In my writing and speaking, I am more than who I am. I'm more than of who I know myself to be. I allow a part of me to come through that is bigger. And then sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, wow. That is and I'm trying to live up to my own wisdom. But I already knew it. How else could I have written it? It came from me. It came through me. It didn't come from somewhere else. A part of me created it. And then later I look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, that is really wise. I should live up to my own wisdom. And the human journey is kind of living up to your own wisdom, to what you already know. That's kind of the whole human experience, because there's a part of you that knows and a part of you that learns. And creating something, writing something, allows you to discover the part of you that knows, a part of you that has the wisdom, a part of you that is bigger than all the things you've learned, bigger than your conditioning, bigger than the stuff that's been put into you. There's a wisdom in there that's always been there, and writing allows you to tap into it. So this is an invitation. Start creating. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if you look stupid while you do it. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to do it. Just start creating. Trust that it will unfold. And what comes through you is more important than the voices that tell you can't do it. It's more important than what you look like on screen or on the imperfect writing that you have. The message is more important than you. And it doesn't matter how people receive it, because they all receive it in their own way. It doesn't matter what's popular or what's not popular or what the algorithm says. Express what's in your heart. And don't force yourself to do it. Do it for the joy of it. Because what you're really doing, you are allowing life to express through you. It could be through writing, through speaking, through acts of kindness. It doesn't matter how. But you are allowing yourself to be a channel for something greater. Don't stand in the way of it. And you'll discover It will change your life. And not only that, it's a lot of fun. Wait, before you go, I gave you free will, so I can't force you. But I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button and that little bell. And thank you for watching. And thank you for being here on planet Earth. It's a lot more fun with you around.